Have you ever helped a stranger without expecting anything in return? On a cold, rainy evening in New York City, people hurried through the crowded streets, their eyes fixed on their phones. Near the entrance of a busy subway station sat an old homeless man. His beard was untrimmed. His clothes were dirty and torn. A cardboard sign beside him read, "Hungry. Anything helps." Thousands walked past him. Some pretended he didn't exist. Others laughed. A few even recorded videos to post online. But none of them knew that the old beggar was actually Richard Harrison, one of America's richest billionaires. After building a business empire worth billions of dollars, Richard had lost faith in people. He no longer wanted to know who admired his wealth. He wanted to find someone who would show kindness to a man who had nothing. So he made a strange promise to himself. For 30 days, he would live like a homeless man. No bodyguards. No expensive cars. No luxury suits. Just an old coat. And the truth about human nature. 29 days passed. He found greed, selfishness, and cruelty. Then, on the final evening, someone stopped. A young waitress named Emma Carter. 24 years old. Living paycheck to paycheck. She had just finished a 12-hour shift. Her shoes were worn. Her backpack was old. Inside her wallet, she had only $20 left. Money she needed for groceries. She looked at the old man. Then quietly walked toward him. Emma knelt beside the old man. "Sir, have you eaten today?" The old man looked up slowly and smiled. "Not since yesterday." Without saying another word, Emma walked into a nearby cafe. She bought a hot bowl of soup, a sandwich, and a bottle of water. When she returned, she placed the food in front of him. The old man whispered, "Thank you." As Emma turned to leave, she opened her wallet. Only one $20 bill remained. She stared at it for a few seconds. If she gave it away, she wouldn't have enough money to buy groceries until payday. She smiled anyway. She folded the bill, placed it gently into the old man's hand, and said, "Everyone deserves hope." The old man's eyes filled with tears. No one had shown him such kindness in almost a month. Across the street, a black luxury SUV was quietly parked. Inside sat Richard's personal assistant and security team. One bodyguard asked, "Sir, should we tell her who you are?" Richard slowly shook his head. "No. I want to know who she is. Not because of my money, but because of her heart." That night, Richard asked his team to quietly investigate Emma. What they discovered shocked even him. Emma worked 2 jobs. She lived in a tiny apartment. Most of her salary went toward paying for her younger brother's medical treatment. Yet, she had still given away the last money she had. Richard looked out the window and softly whispered, "I think my search is finally over." The next morning, Emma woke up expecting another ordinary day. She had no idea someone had been watching her life. At the restaurant where she worked, customers came and went as usual. Around noon, a well-dressed man entered. It was Richard's personal lawyer. He quietly sat at Emma's table. "Miss Emma Carter?" She looked surprised. "Yes, that's me." The man handed her a business card. "My employer would like to meet you this evening." Emma frowned. "I think you have the wrong person." The lawyer smiled. "No, Miss Carter. He specifically asked for you." Curious but cautious, Emma agreed. That evening, a black luxury limousine arrived outside her apartment. Her neighbors watched in amazement. Emma stepped inside. The car drove to one of the largest mansions in the city. As the massive gates opened, she could hardly believe her eyes. Inside stood the same old beggar. But this time, he was wearing an elegant navy blue suit. Clean-shaven. Confident. Surrounded by executives and security guards. Emma froze. Her voice trembled. "Why, you're the homeless man." Richard smiled gently. "Yes. My name is Richard Harrison. For 30 days I lived as a beggar. I wasn't looking for money. I was looking for kindness. And out of thousands of people, you were the only one who gave without expecting anything in return." Emma stood speechless, unable to believe what she was hearing. Emma lowered her head. "I only gave you $20. It wasn't much." Richard smiled. To someone with millions, it wasn't. But to someone who had only $20, it was everything. He reached into his pocket and carefully unfolded the same $20 bill Emma had given him. "I've kept it with me, because it's the most valuable money I've ever received." Emma couldn't hold back her tears. Richard then looked at his lawyer. "Bring in the documents." A large folder was placed on the table. Richard continued. "Starting today, your brother's medical treatment will be paid in full. Your apartment loan is completely cleared. And if you still dream of becoming a nurse, I'll personally pay for your education." Emma covered her mouth in disbelief. "Why would you do all this for me?" Richard replied softly. "Because kindness deserves to be rewarded. And because the world needs more people like you." A few weeks later, Emma graduated from nursing school. Her younger brother recovered completely. She began working at the Harrison Hope Foundation, helping homeless families, struggling children, and elderly people across the country. One afternoon, a reporter asked Richard, "Out of all your business investments, which one made you the happiest?" Richard smiled. "The best investment I ever made was believing in one kind heart." The camera slowly turned toward Emma as she helped an elderly homeless woman with a warm meal. A narrator spoke one final line. "True wealth isn't measured by how much you have, but by how much you're willing to give when you have almost nothing."